Why have you decided to start doing video content and podcasts?
Because I look miles better on camera when it's video. Okay, sorry. Why have I decided to start doing podcasts and video? Because I think the work that we produce instills as much as it tells stories and delivers messages. We can't have a conversation with a still. And there is a lot of things in this industry that aren't discussed, that aren't highlighted, that aren't debated. And I believe that it's time to do that.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think people are kind of steering away from certain topics or keeping quiet altogether?
I think it's just been the way that the industry has been. People have been very accepting of, well, that's just the way it is. It's for years has been. For years, it's been rife with fuckery, and I think that a lot of people, especially women, especially models, especially young female actresses, even I guess males, but my experience more with females, is that they had to do things or felt that they had to do things to progress that in any other walk of life they wouldn't have to do. The way that people have been treated, they just accepted that that's the way that they would be treated. The things that they were expected to shoot, the levels that they were expected to work to, they just felt, okay, well, that's what's expected of me. And I think that has changed, thank God. And now I think people are less accepting and they're more willing to challenge the industry. They're more willing to challenge the way it is. They won't accept it, and I'm glad, and neither will I.
Obviously, working in corporate and working in companies, you have rules, you have a HR department, you have a guidebook.
Not that it makes any fucking difference.
Do you think there should be some sort of rule book to follow?
100%, without question. And I think there is to an extent, but our industry is completely unregulated. It is probably the least regulated industry on the planet. For years, I think people have made up the rules as they go along. And we've just had to sort of navigate and swerve and adapt to whatever is going on at that moment. There has been no guidelines, there has been no guidance. There was never anyone before us saying, be careful of that, or watch out for this, or I wish there was someone when I started that sort of gave me at least a little bit of warning or indication of what I would be up against. But yes, I think there should be guidelines, there should be legislation in place, we should be regulated, because I think a lot of people would be a lot safer, and I think a lot of people would be a lot happier. I would.
Now you have your own studio. Why did you decide to open a studio?
So last year, at the beginning of last year, I was touring a lot, and I was working in a lot of studios. I did a lot of traveling. I went overseas, and everywhere I went, bar one, was run by a man who was usually a photographer or just a man who had no experience modeling, who didn't really give a fuck about the models or anything other than generating revenue, making cash, treating models and even photographers as cash cows. taking advantage of them, manipulating them. And eventually I came back to Manchester, and I had my last shoot at a studio in Manchester. And I'd had enough. I thought, okay, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And then I got a phone call to say that after 2 years, a space had come available in a mill. Was I interested? And I got in my car and I drove to the mill. And pretty much found the money there and then to take the space. I'd already decided in my head that I was done, but the fact that I got the call that week, it was time to do it my way and stop working in male run and own studios, because it was pissing me off, basically.
And what is your way?
My way.
Yeah, do it your way. What does that mean?
Doing it my way means doing what I think is right. It means looking after people the way that they should be looked after, and acknowledging that, especially models that work to the levels that I do, which isn't, I mean, I worked at Art Nude, so for me, that is not high level content as far as the industry goes. But these people are vulnerable, and sometimes when they are in the wrong company, they can be in danger. And for me, this is about having a safe environment for them to operate, to do their job without feeling preyed upon and without being a target for predators in the industry. Because it doesn't matter where you look, in every direction there is a predator, and they are waiting. They are just sitting, waiting for someone young and inexperienced, or new and inexperienced, to come along for them to take advantage of. So this studio and my environment and my brand has no place for predators, and that's the point. That's why I do it my way. That's how I do it my way.
What are the wider systemic problems of running a business in this industry, or being your own boss, being a freelancer in this industry?
There's no guarantee. There's never any guarantee. There's no pattern. And I think that the culture in our industry has become a bit ridiculous, in that people are willing to do an awful lot for very little. People have forgotten how industry works. And in order to keep industry going, money has to exchange hands. Like, in order to keep our industry alive, we need to continue well, we have to be in business. You need to make money and spend money. But a lot of people are willing to work, I guess, for Instagram fame. You know, we're all doing the same sort of job, not to the same standard, but we're all doing the same sort of job. And some people are willing to do my job for nothing other than exposure, which is the dirtiest word in the industry. Exposure. Come and do this. I can give you such great exposure. If you work for this, if you do this for TF, it will give you amazing exposure. Like, why would you expose yourself for exposure? Okay. The hardest parts of running this business in this industry is trying to justify the cost. Like, trying to explain to people the cost, because I don't think a lot of people comprehend the cost. The amount that has to go into this business, and the amount of hours, the amount of, you know, stupid things, paint, wood, backdrops, fucking electricity, they seem like nothing. Someone comes in and they've got every fucking fan in the place on, and cutting lines up backdrops and tearing shit and nicking wardrobe, and it's like, well, all these things cost money, and I think people don't understand that in order to keep these businesses going, they have to be maintained, not just by the people running them, but by the people using them. Do you know what? There's so many factors that make this hard. The one thing that makes it really easy is how much I love my industry. There's no guaranteed paycheck. That's the hardest thing about running this business, is there is no guaranteed paycheck. And the struggle of, Nathan, you said something to me recently, and it was a quote by someone that you'd interviewed for the magazine. And it was like, no one knows your name until you tell them. No one knows who you are until you tell them. Right. No one knows you exist until you tell them. And that's been the hardest thing, because me as a model, the algorithm and meta and censorship is against me. I am on the fucking meta naughty step. So I honestly think that my other businesses are probably affected by that. And that basically telling people that we're here is hard. Getting the brand out there is hard. Marketing is hard. It doesn't matter. Run as many fucking sponsored ads as you want. It makes no difference. I don't care what anyone says. I've had countless ads go out and very little return. Collaboration has been the biggest thing for us.
How important is word of mouth? Well, obviously, people come into the studio, they have the time,
Massive.
they have an experience. How important has that been for bringing new people in?
So important. There's been like models with massive social media followings that I expected to get loads of bookings off the back of, and had nothing. But then models or photographers will come in that I've never met, never heard of, didn't know anyone that had shot with them. And off the back of that, I've had 5, 6, 7 bookings. Referral is the biggest compliment. And we've relied on that massively, because Meta and advertising and whatever has made it so difficult. Referral has been huge. It's so important. And like, everyone involved in this studio is so hands-on, and I think super, super friendly. And I've walked into studios and the owner's been there and they've not even acknowledged me. And I'm just like, no, that's not how we're going to do this. Like, we want everyone to feel like the most important person in the room. So yes, referrals, everything. We're going to treat them like royalty.
Creators with a growth mindset are obviously more attuned to social outreach. Mm-hmm. That's probably why you get more referrals to them. People on the top, they already have their following.
There's so much ego involved. And I think people that they consider themselves on the top, that's as far as they're going to go. They're never going to go any further, because in their head, well, I'm already up here. I don't need to try anymore. Yes, darling, you do. My outgoings on a monthly basis in the region of £3,200 My rent alone is 1,200 quid. And that's by choice. Mm-hmm. Like, I realize that, people say, oh, live within your means and blah, blah, blah. No, I want my son to have a nice family home growing up. So rent, council tax, utilities, so your gas, electric, your whatever, shopping, car, clothes for the little boy because he grows like a weed. It's the same outgoings as everybody else day to day. My bills are just the same as everybody else's. The difference is that I have a single income. I'm a single income household.
And then on top of that, you have...
On top of that, that obviously is the studio. So the rent, the service charges, insurance, the electric, the water, consumables, all the equipment, everything in here has cost something or other, So yeah, it's double the outgoings, double the pressure.
Almost like having two houses.
It's literally like having two households, exactly that, with a single household income. Self-employed, no guarantees, creative industry income, which is whose fucking idea was this? Whose idea was this?
I believe that would be yours.
Fuck.
That would be, but despite that, you keep going.
Well, I have to. I made a choice. I wouldn't change it. I love it. I hate it. It's exactly what I'm supposed to do. It's exactly what I'm supposed to be. But I can only do that if people come.
Why is your studio? Why did it need to be like this?
Because if I kept it all inside, I would explode. If this studio is exactly what my brain looks like the inside of my brain, it's chaos. And as much as I don't feel like the studio's chaos anymore, for some people it is. I can understand why people would come in and feel a bit overwhelmed. But for me, like, okay, so for example, an artist, a painter, has a palette with, I don't know, 30 colors, right? How many different pictures can they produce with those 30 different colors? So if you've got a studio full of backdrops, props, costumes, sets, how much beautiful art can they produce? If it's a white backdrop, there are limitations, but with everything that we have here, there is no limitations. There is no limit to what people can create in this studio. My favorite people to work with. Do you know the thing that brings me okay, so this is probably the best way to answer this. The thing that brings me the most joy is when a woman or a person comes through the studio believing they can't do it. Like their nerves, their anxiety, their self-confidence isn't there. And it's like a game. To play the game, to make them feel totally different about themselves. And the thing I love is when they've done, once you get stuck into a shoot and they even looking at the back of the camera and like the face that they pull, where they go, oh my God, that's me. And they're like, what, huh? And you're like, eee! It's the best thing in the whole world. And I actually remember the feeling, like being that person looking at the back of the camera going, oh my God, that's me. Oh, fuck yeah. You look sexy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. Especially women who, you know, have, life's been a bit of a bitch. You know, like there's maybe been divorce, there's maybe been kids, there's maybe been loss, there's maybe been fuckery in their life. And, you know, they've had a bit of a rough time and then they've decided to choose themselves. That's the people I want to work with. That's who I like to work with. That's my favorite thing. That's the thing that brings me the most joy. Posing workshops, model mentoring. And some of the people who have sort of subscribed to these things, like I love seeing BTS or shots of them prior to the first shoot or during the first shoot, and then now, like 6 months down the line, and you're like, who is she? You know, it's fucking magic. It's literally magic. Like I can think of a few people where it'll always stick in my mind, and I'm like, it sounds corny as fuck, but I'm so grateful to have been part of that process and that journey. Because the person that did that for me, I've been friends with for years now, and it's a bond that you build. It's really fucking special. It's just really special to be part of that. I love that. It brings me more joy than almost anything else.
I think if you lose your self-confidence, you've lost everything.
Yeah, because it affects every aspect of your life. And I think there's two things I think make the biggest difference, especially in this industry, that bleeds over into the rest of your life. One is your opinion of yourself, and the other is your belief in yourself. Like, other people's opinions of you are not your business. That is none of your business. They will think what they will think, whatever happens. If you do you for you, that's the bit that matters. Are you happy with what you're doing? Do you believe in what you're doing? Are you confident in what you are doing? Do you want to be doing what you're doing? All of these things, like, that is the most important thing. Nobody else's opinion of you, it's not your business. You do you.
In such a space where everything is visual, everything is public, reels, photos, TikToks, everything. It's very easy to put on a mask for 30 seconds to a minute and pretend that everything is rosy. How can people avoid falling into the trap of thinking that everyone's got this perfect life for them?
None of this is real. None of it. It's all a game. It's all make-believe. You know, do you think that Hollywood movie stars live the way that they portray themselves in the movies? No. They eat, sleep, and shit like everybody else. They go, well, maybe they don't go to the supermarket. When you've got that much money, I don't know. My point is that however someone on the outside looking in is living their life, that's probably how everybody else is doing it too. And I do, you know, as much as it's nice to sort of glamorize this environment, there is nothing fucking glamorous about this environment. You know, it's blood, sweat, and tears. And at the end of it, sometimes really beautiful work. But the in-between stuff, I'm a mother, you know, I clean my own home. I go to the gym, I go to the supermarket, just like everybody else. I think it's important to understand that behind the scenes, we have our insecurities, we have our uncertainties, we have our struggles and difficulties. I worry about the bills just as much as everybody else. I, stress out about when my MOT is coming up, or, there's all these day-to-day things that are exactly the same as everybody else. The only difference is that, I'm not clocking in and clocking out every day with a guaranteed income at the end of the month. That's, for me, an added concern and struggle. So looking at images and thinking, oh, wow, it's super glamorous, and, oh, it looks beautiful, and all these edits and all these, yeah, that's lovely for a split second, but everything in between is just as stressful and mundane.
Obviously, you see models taking pictures on yachts, on beaches, making trips.
Yeah. That don't impress me much. Bullshit.
Living a lifestyle that doesn't really fit with reality.
It's just embarrassing, to be honest. I just think it's embarrassing. Stop being a fucking idiot. You look stupid. Just put your phone down. Enjoy the moment. Some of the best memories I have in my head, there wasn't a phone or camera in sight, and I'm glad, because it's in my head. It's my moment. All this show for social media, cringe. Put your fucking phone down and pretend it's 1995 and we don't have Wi-Fi and we just have to talk to each other. Yeah, all this Insta famous selfie culture on yachts and in VIP with bottles of Grey Goose and all this fucking bullshit. You just look stupid. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself and you're embarrassing me. Be real. Be authentic. That's what we want to see. Real shit.
So in terms of you doing this interview and being so open about things, why is that important for you? Why are you not putting that mask on?
Because it's not real. I put a mask on every time I shoot. I become a character every time I step in front of the camera as a model. If I'm handed a brief, I have to become the subject in the brief. I did the Cleopatra shoot with Sai recently. You know, in my head, I was fucking Cleopatra. You know, you and I shot Priscilla Presley. I believed I was fucking Priscilla Presley. I was marrying Elvis. That's what was happening. I do. But my point is, like, I'm really happy with who I am. I'm really happy with the woman I've become and who I'm becoming. I am such a different person to who I was 15, 10, 5 years ago. Why would I not be me? Why would I not come on camera and be myself? Why would I not sit? Like, anybody who knows me knows if we were having a conversation, this is how I would be having a conversation with you. I'm not gonna, it's embarrassing. Stop it. Just be real, be authentic, be yourself. There's nothing wrong with being yourself. I don't have a lot of money. I don't go on fancy holidays. I don't go to the club and sit in VIP. Who gives a fuck? My happiness is at home with my child, going on bear hunts, you know, hunting dragons and saving princesses. You know, my happiness is charity shops and fucking the skip shop up the road where I can find a dresser for a tenner. That's my happiness. I'm not, no airs and graces. I live in the same pair of dungarees 4 days a week. I don't give a fuck. I'm not interested. Take me or leave me, like me or... Sorry. Take me or leave me, like me or lump me. I don't give a fuck. I'm okay with me. And that is why having this conversation on camera like this is important, because I'm cool with myself. I'm okay with me.
But how do you feel about newbies coming into this market?
The biggest piece of advice I would give them: don't ignore your gut. Never ever ignore your gut. Your gut was given to you as instinct to survive. If your gut is giving you even the slightest hint that something is wrong, listen to it, don't ignore it, because 99.9% of the time you'll be right. And I do think sometimes people ignore their gut instinct to further themselves or to progress. You know, they think it's a faster, easier option. No, it's not worth it. Put in the hard work and, you know, you will make a return on the investment of your time and effort. Like, it can cost people their whole life. And I think, especially when it comes to things like levels, the impact of, you know, explicit level content it can change your life in the worst way. And, you know, there is more in place now in the ways of laws and things in favor of people who have been a victim of revenge porn and things like that. But, you know, making a choice to shoot explicit content with a stranger, yeah, it can destroy your life if you make the wrong move with the wrong person. It's so important to learn to set those boundaries before you start, because you will have people try and push your boundaries. That's not a maybe. That will happen. Like, I can guarantee that will happen at some point. Someone will want to push your levels and push your boundaries, and you have to be strong enough and confident enough in yourself in that moment possibly in a vulnerable state in front of a stranger, to be able to say, no, I'm not doing that. That wasn't what we agreed. That's not what I'm working to. You know, if you allow them to push your boundaries, and they're even trying to push your boundaries, I can almost guarantee as well that they are doing it for the wrong reasons, and they will do something to harm you or hurt you, or to try and weaponize the content that you've created with them. You know, once you've made a decision that these are the levels that I'm working to, stick with it. There's no compromise. You have to stick with that. And if you decide to change your mind, don't do it in the moment that you're stood in front of the camera with the stranger telling you that it would be worth you just doing that little bit extra. Come away and make the decision, and then go to, you know, a shoot where those levels are a bit higher with someone that you trust. But in that moment, that's a mistake. You would be making a mistake.
Other than the self-esteem aspect, because we've already covered that, why is it everyone should try modelling or try to pursue their creative passion?
Do you know what? And I know some people will disagree with this. I really believe this, that especially as a photography model, or I don't know how you would describe me, an alternative artistic model, I guess. I honestly believe that there is a place for everybody. There is a place for everybody in some which way, shape or form when it comes to modeling or being the subject of an artistic creation.
What are your hopes for the future?
I'd like this journey to be more peaceful. It's chaos. And I'd like there to be chaos, but less. My hopes for the future are the RC brand grows and thrives, and people understand, you know, how much love there is in this brand for everyone involved. For me, you know, I hope for everyone that comes through the door. I just want people to at least experience a fraction of the joy that we get to experience on a daily basis. We laugh, we be silly, we clown about, but we really do work hard. Like, I've never worked so hard in all my life. I've never worked so many hours in all my life. I've never dodged so many final notice payment letters in my life. My hopes is that all of the stress and all of the hard work and all of the sleepless nights and, you know, all of the hard days are worth it. And I feel like they are already, but, you know, in 5 years' time, I would love us to be looking back and going, remember how fucking hard that was? Like, I know it'll always be hard, but yeah, it's been hard. So I really hope that sometime soon, it's not quite as hard, and that we start to really enjoy and see some return on some of the work that we've had to put in this year, because this year's been really hard. Between us, Rio Carlette, NT91 Photography, Amari Artifacts, RC at the Studio, RC Academy, plus some other stuff, but they are coming soon. Like that's a lot. We work hard. We do a lot of shit. And I'm responsible for growing a tiny human, so that's kind of hard work too. And you, growing you also. I have to feed and water you as well.
2011 Team Rio is sat on the spot in front of you.
Aww.
What do you say to her?
Oh my God. Baby ghetto. Don't listen to these fucking assholes. You're amazing. You're gonna have lots of fuckery in your life. So don't listen to these people. You are amazing. You're enough. You're perfect. Just as you are. Even as imperfect as you are perfect. Don't listen to these people. You do you. If it makes you happy, it's not that bad. That's it. Okay?
Done.